Los Angeles stream right now to let you know about a fire that is burning in Harupa Valley. This is the Pyrite Fire. Desmond Shaw, high above 10,000 feet over this one. Des, we are certainly starting to see the glow in the night.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to be able to see it here from the 60 freeway and from probably quite a bit of the smoke from the 10 freeway as well. This fire that's officially at 140 acres, but it looks to be considerably larger than that. The good news is it looks like it's for the most part moving away from homes, the bulk of the fire anyway. We'll put up the map tracker, show you the exact neighborhoods we're talking about. So this is west of Sierra Avenue in the Harupa Hills, and there definitely has been some concern for these neighborhoods down here. Scenic Drive, Argonite Way, all of these Garnet Ridge Road, Granite Hills Drive, that whole community just north of the 60 freeway. I noticed here, you can't really see it now that it's gotten so dark, but there was quite a bit of fire retardant that was dropped on the west flank of this fire. Just kind of highlight the area here. And that's why you're beginning to see everything I'm kind of scrolling across here. That is starting to kind of peter out a little bit. So that is the good news. But it's also getting to the top of this ridge line, and I can't tell if there is phos-check at the top of this ridge or not, but it's going to have a lot more trouble moving downhill into that neighborhood, especially not being aided by hardly any winds. So hopefully they'll be able to keep it to this side of this ridge line. Very, very smoky fire, though, and I know, Mike, we do have some evacuations on this with the neighborhoods that I just showed you. So yeah. CAL FIRE, they're going to be busy out here into the wee morning hours, at the very least, I would say.
And Desmond, actually, if you can, I want you to pan down back to that neighborhood, because it did look like there was some law enforcement actually maybe going door to door in that neighborhood that you were just looking at. So when you get a second, if we could look back at that there as we watch the fire continue to grow. And yes, there are evacuations in place right now for this fire. We'll show you, if we can come into my computer here, I can show you that right now, where you're seeing some of the area. Right here, everything that is in red. So JUR 0031, 0017, 0018. Those are all, the two here are mandatory, the yellow is voluntary. And Des, right there in that neighborhood, if you can go in tight, it looked like there was maybe sheriff's deputies kind of going door to door and trying to do some evacuations in that neighborhood. I can see some of the blue and red flashy lights right now. Looks like they're going through there, right?
Yeah, Almondine Way, Gypsum Drive, definitely where you're seeing some sheriffs as well as some of the firefighters posting up in these neighborhoods. And there is what looks like to be a Riverside County Sheriff's deputy right there. So you got the map tracker on and showing you all the areas that are under threat. And, you know, these flames, I mean, you're going to be able to see them very easily from the 60 freeway here, but quite a few hand crews out here. You see them up here on these fire roads as well. And so they are getting a decent handle on the western edge of the fire. You have some other neighborhoods as well here, like Pyrite Street, where it was getting kind of close.
Yeah, so that's right. Pyrite Street there is where you can see the flames are burning. Now, Des, it's interesting, though, because you've got that, like, thin line, and then there's something in between. It looks like they got it out, but that flank is still kind of causing problems.
Yeah. I'm sorry, one more time, Mike?
No, I was just saying, Des, it looks like, I mean, you've got this small set of fire there on the left before you've got the bigger fire. So it looks like maybe they got it out in between or it burned itself out, but they're still having that little problematic slip right here as closer to Granite Hill.
Yeah, let me go ahead and put the satellite overlay and kind of show you what we're talking about right here as well. So you can see, you know, it got to the top of the ridgeline right here. There's also quite a bit of fire retardant where I'm showing you, and then it's not really having much success either getting through the phos-check or burning on the downhill slope. So that's why you're starting to see that, you know, not look very, very intense. But it looks like it may have begun possibly kind of in this area and then kind of fanned out to the west and then more over to this direction where it really, really took off with the aid of some very flashy fuel and these steep hillsides. You know, just kind of from flying in this area, from experience, it didn't really seem like the fuel was very thick in this area. I feel like these hills are kind of more dirt than brush, but regardless, I mean, this fire did not have any trouble at all, you know, scaling this mountain, and now it obviously expanded quite a bit. It was closer to 100 acres officially when we first came out here. Again, closer to 140 they're saying, but it looks like it's already quite a bit larger than that. So we'll see if we can come around to the, well, I'm not sure we'll be able to come around to the north side of the fire just because it might interfere with Ontario. We'll see if we're able to right now. But the wide picture of the fire from way up here, there is a big glow across the Inland Empire, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Des, I mean, you know, first of all, for our viewers that are wondering, you are up high. we're almost 9,000, 10,000 feet up there. So we are very high up in the air as we're looking at this. And yeah, there's Ontario Airport just kind of to the northwest of where we're at. But I'm looking at some of the aircraft on scene. You know, this started in kind of one of those unfortunate times of day where it's just starting to get dark and we're just starting to not be able to have as many aircraft as we would like on it. And I see maybe a couple of the tankers, the retardant tankers, making probably their final drops, but it looks like we just had a Chinook join in. Are you seeing any kind of those drops, or is that all kind of starting to subside as we lose daylight?
Yeah, I actually have not really seen any drops at this point. And you're right, you know, if this fire would have even just began an hour or so earlier, they probably would have been able to get this surrounded with fire retardant very quickly. I mean, they have a big base not far from here at San Bernardino Airport. It would be less than a 5-minute flight for them to get here. They were able to get at least 1 or 2 runs in here on the west side, like I said. But yeah, it is definitely unfortunate when a fire begins kind of closer to sunset or twilight. It's an advantage for the fire. So you do have now, you know, no daylight, you have the topography, you have the flashy fuels, not really winds working in the fire's favor from what I can see. You kind of see everything kind of just kicking up and maybe moving a little bit to the east. If anything, you know, we're kind of in the shadow of the Cajon Pass, and you would likely have some breezes that would push this kind of back onto itself, if anything. But winds, not so much of a factor. Let's put up that map tracker again here as well. We're showing you Sierra Avenue, which, you know, is still open right now, but I'm wondering if that's going to have to be shut down because it does look like it's in the fire's path as it tries to creep down that ridge line. There's the satellite view as well. And, you know, it looks like it might be pretty rocky going. This is kind of what I was talking about, where it doesn't look, it's definitely like forested or anything, but there's certainly weeds, sagebrush, chaparral in there, probably very dry. Of course, it's been very warm all week, and you know, we almost made it out of the week here with this cool down coming without a really serious fire, but unfortunately, we have this one here, the Pyrite Fire that's broken out.
So, Des, right now, this is burning kind of what, to the north-northeast a little bit? It's not burning directly north, right? It's moving in more of an easterly direction?
Yeah, I would say so, northeast. This flank right here, we'll see if it's able to kind of creep directly to the north, but I would say more to the east than to the north. And from what I showed you on that, you know, satellite here, I mean, you do have some neighborhoods down here. This is the other side of Sierra Avenue, where people over here are definitely going to start to get nervous, but downhill slopes are a disadvantage to the fire, so hopefully that will aid the firefighters in preventing it from jumping Sierra Highway. But you know, that is going to be a concern because there is another big hillside right over on this side, and we see fires jump all the time. So we definitely don't want to see any embers floating across and then catching this mountain on fire right now. So let's hope that continues to be the case.
And Des, I want to show our viewers really quick, and Nate in the control room, if you can pull up my computer, I just want to give kind of everybody a little bit of a direction. So this is the fire. This is the last print of the fire, though we believe it has certainly grown since then. Everything you see in the red here is the mandatory evacuations, and then in the yellow is the voluntary. So where Desmond is looking, basically on the left side of your screen, is looking at Sierra Highway, which is right here. So you can see the foot of the fire has definitely moved even further here to the east. That's why I was asking Desmond, because this is the next neighborhood, which right now is still under voluntary evacuations, but you would imagine if it continues to push towards Sierra Highway the way it is, this may turn into a mandatory evacuation. So that's why they've got those evacuation warnings there, because as the fire pushes, they want these people in this neighborhood to certainly be ready and be aware of the direction that the fire is pushing right now. And if Desmond mentioned, if it jumps and kind of gets to this side, that could be a whole new set of issues here. But hopefully that won't be the case. And as Desmond has mentioned, the topography in that area is certainly now a downward slope, which we know that the fires don't usually like downward slopes, certainly not as much as you're looking at satellite imagery from Desmond's shot there. Certainly doesn't like downward slopes as much as they do the upward slopes. So we're going to continue to monitor this here as we watch this fire. But the Sierra Avenue right there is what you see the fire burning towards at this point. And it is going to continue to do that as fire crews hopefully will be able to get in there. I see that Chinook is in there. Hopefully they will be able to get some water on that. They've got a lot of water in those tanks as well. Unfortunately, though, as Desmond and I talked about, as night falls, we start to lose some of those aircraft that are able to do a lot more work here.
Yeah. Yeah, and my pilot Jeff just saying, kind of concurring with what I was saying, I'm not really seeing much of an aerial firefight at this point. I mean, there's it looks like it might be air attack right there. They're probably down there somewhere. They might be on the north side, kind of hiding behind this big pillar of smoke right here. So, yeah, I mean, people flying into Ontario Airport are going to start to see this as well, and might even kind of get into their flight path a little bit at the way that this fire is moving and the way that the smoke is all going. But the wide view right here still kind of contained to this one slope of the Harupa Hills west of Sierra Avenue, and unfortunately it's not going to see a lot in the way of the aerial firefighting, and these are some very steep hills, so not going to have hand crews either, Mike.
Yeah, all right, Desmond Shaw live in Skycal, 10,000 feet above the Pyrite Fire, where mandatory evacuations have been ordered. Desmond, we are going to wrap up our coverage. We will be back on KCAL News at 8 and streaming right here on CBS News Los Angeles. For now, though, for Desmond Shaw, I'm Mike Rogers here in the KCAL News studios.